Okay, kids, we got most of the interior out for when I was wiring. I have my battery mounted and my surge tank mounted where I want to, at least for now. And I have all of my fuel stuff out, well, most of all of my fuel stuff. So I'm starting on like what fittings orb are going in and out of this. It came with an 8, believe it or not. The surge tank came with an 8 outlet. I thought for sure it was a 10, so I swapped on one of my orb to 10. So this is the 8 because I plan to go 10 all the way up close to the engine bay, or maybe even halfway down the car, and split it to 2 8s and then everything else. So I'm messing around with that. I got a PQY filter with a stainless element and everything in it from Monkey Fab. Well, he actually sent me 2. He sent me one a while ago and he must have forgotten, or he doesn't care, and he sent me another one for this, but they come with nice clamps to hold them in place. I don't know if I want to put this with all my hoses and everything that are going to go underneath the spare tire well, hoses, fuses, relays, everything for all these pumps, and the filter in there to make it easy, or try to hide it under the car and mount it. Probably just use up that spare little pouch in the trunk. Tons of 10 stuff to run up front and get the fuel lines all hooked up. The return, I wanted to use an 8, but again, I don't have an 8 thing. I have to look around, but anyway, it's inconsequential. I want to do an 8 return. I could do a 6, I guess, because it's staging the pumps. I don't know. I'd like to do an 8 return either way, but I don't have the top fitting for that. I'm rambling, so I just got to start this fuel stuff. It's just one of those things I've been stalling out in the wiring again. And, dude, put the fuel lines in, and you're not that far from just starting it. So oil lines, fuel lines, grow a pair, and get it running and moving, and then move on with the wiring stuff after you do burnouts. Okay, kids, quick one while we are at it. So there are like a million of these same fuel pressure regulators. They come in every shape, size, form. I'm fond of the PQY. I feel like they have the best quality control. It's it's a $28 to $38 regulator the last couple times I bought it. It's been on a bunch of my cars, has worked fine. It was just recently on the Turbo 2500 and the G35. So I also wanted to show these Chinese fuel pressure regulators, the internals, obviously. So you take it apart. It has the spring. It has like a nice little isolator, like a valve spring, obviously, like same thing. And you can see in here, what you want to make sure is you're buying a $30 thing, and people complain that they leak and that, there's bad machining, but you're buying a $28. I don't know. It doesn't need to be explained too much, probably, to this audience. Yeah. You take it apart and you look, like, are there giant chunks of silver? Are the threads clean? Cool. And then you look at this. Is this ripped? Does it exist? Yep, that's cool also. And then in here, you could take a look at this. Like, a lot of times there's just not finishing work on the machining, and that makes people nervous. And, maybe this on its way in and out of your fuel system could be bad, could never make an issue at all. And then also, this is the return orifice. See here? You can drill that, make it bigger. Help save your day. So you can drill that thing out. Obviously, just look at the fitting size, and then the teeny tiny little hole here. You can't erase this. It has to be able to push up the ball pin here, but you can make it as big as. Okay, I hope people don't. You can't drill that the size of your finger, because you'll get rid of the pressure orifice, the ball seat here. Anyway, maybe I shouldn't say anything about that at all. So, just got to take them apart. If it bothers you, clean them up. And then make sure the Allen keys here are tight. A lot of times they ship and they're loose. Like, you key the car on and it showers fuel 360 degrees. So just snug those guys up when you bring it together. Again, just wanted to get a little bit more of a clip for you. Shine that light in there. Yeah, just that stuff. And then obviously you can bore this center line out. It's easier to see on the bottom of the black one. See that? Oh no, the machining marks. So as I'm planning this out and getting somewhere with everything, I will give a better idea of it all once I make, I'm drilling a hole here. So I got these from Hennessy to try out. They're the PQY filters, and unlike some other ones I've tested, this one's actually stainless, and he wants me to mess with it. So it has the outlet here, so the inlet is huge. Let's get over that first, and then it's going to hit this, and then it's going to go into the element and out of this bore, which is also a good size. Now, they neck this way down. I am not sure why, and it has like a receiving flare, a concave. So when you go to thread, this is interesting, like this is something we're learning here. When you go to thread this guy in, it stops, it hard stops well before the O-ring, and I don't know what's going on with that. So it has like a different taper. It must not be straight thread like these. So it's designed to have a male put in. So I took like my 10 to 8 splitter here, and it does, it flare fits against this. But what makes me uncomfortable is the size difference here is gigantic for the outlet. See that? And then see how much bigger a 10 is, like an actual 10 versus here, let's see if we can, this might not be easy, but let's do this. Well, you can't really see. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna stop complaining. Take a look at that. Yeah, it's like 4 times triple the size, right around there. So I got a drill bit that fits through the top piece, and I'm gonna blow it through the bottom piece and see if the flare and everything is still happy. Please hold. All right, kids. Might not look that great, but it is smooth. And take a look at this. When you go over both, whew, see? Same size. So now when you thread this guy in, you can see, same size. So, ladies and gentlemen, kids, I worked on this thing for quite a while. Yesterday I destroyed my fingers with tubing. I finally got my, here's my Summit steam port vent kit. Pretty nice. It's still loose for now till I get my final, this is the outlet. Here I got this full length. The back of my water pump, awesomely enough, has an 1/8 inch port. So I have fittings coming so I can connect this right to the back of the water pump. You know, obviously this is gonna fit funny, so I'm gonna hoop it or do whatever. So, or I can swap these, etc. So I got that done. I got my turbo drains done. I got that drain done. I got fuel lines up into the engine bay. I'm still figuring out this a little bit. So there is the radium head right there. That thing is doing really good. Everything's connected except for the return. And then what I did was, this is a funny situation that I explained earlier in the video about the filter and having the female receptacle. And then that's the Y fitting. And then they go up. And everything's just obviously loose for now. Oh, what's cool is this PQY came with this doobie, and it'll hold it way up out of the way above the fuel or the frame rail and everything. So that's good. So we're not too far from running fuel through it. I bought a flex sensor since I have to wire that. I started making oil lines, and I was trying to like band-aid it and unhappy, and I was like, you know what, I just cut them all. And I bought, one thing that bothered me was these are actual stainless, but they're nice PTFE. So I got, you know, a 4AN PTFE nylon, and then I'm going to do an oil feed up, and then I'm going to split it to the turbos like there or something. So I wanted to do that nice. I got my gates on and off. I started plugging the ports I'm not going to use. I'm considering doing that dot hose on this. I had some of this stuff left in a manifold block, and I'm considering it, but I don't really like them. I thought maybe if I get them all nice, it could be pretty clean, or it'd be easy to work on at first and then see how it goes. So kicking that around, because this intake has all those ports to use. So I was going to take one from that side, one from that side, and then they essentially can go into this block together, creating a, you know, everything in here is balanced between the intakes then, and I can even do map sensor or whatever, but then like this thing's got to go somewhere and not be ugly or in the way, and you know how it goes. But this might be nice to get myself started, so at least I can get, so say I buy really nice nylon stuff and I change this and I hate it 6 times and I'm cutting nylon the whole time. What about if I just get this working in directions that I like and it's reliable and I don't like the plastic anymore and I can exchange it all. Anyway, that's where I am. I have a ton of plug wires up in the attic storage here, so I think I'm just going to put those plug wires on. Other thing I have to deal with is the heads for the ignition grounds are buried in the wiring. I have to cut those and make them longer or something to get them to the back of the cylinder heads. And then all the spark stuff is done. I did power steering lines out of PTFE. Monkey Fab said no problem. PTFE is good. And then I have the return hose, and then I have the turbo drain. They all hold themselves out of the way. That's the way I designed them, is to be, you know, whatever you would call friction fit or stiffness fit. They can't hit anything. They are so tight in their bend that they're not touching anything and they're holding themselves in place. So might keep them like that. Fastening them would just make them rub. They don't touch anything and they're physically just floating in space, rigid where they need to be. The other thing I need to do is map sensor, which I'm still debating if I'm going to do like a thread-in low dollar or use the $18 4-bar that I do use and I like to use. Kicking that around, but I have no way to mount. I'd have to get like a block and then hook up everything to the block kind of thing. And if I do this, I can buy a female thingamabob for this, and I can plug the map sensor directly into this block over a push lock also. There's a lot of that going on, just debating all of that stuff. So, and then the bigger ports, I'd like to combine. There's 2 bigger ports on the bottom. These are 1/8 inch, and I think the bottom one's a 1/4. I want to combine the quarters and then hook it up to the booster. So that kind of thing's going on. Just a lot. The water system is almost completely tight other than that vent and then all this needs to get tightened up, and then it can hold water other than the heater hoses. I plugged the bottom ones. This kit comes with, you can swap these all around. Those are going to go to the heater core. Not a big deal. I already got, you can buy those. I had them in like my, look at all my hose bins here. I had those hoses, these, so I want to hook up the heater core when I fill the water too. I mean, that won't be filled for the first start. I got to get a drum of transmission fluid and then some stuff to dye it, you know, ATF, and then I'm going to put ATF in here since all that's hooked up so that doesn't blow out when I'm cranking it. Pretty easy to just top that thing off. It's exciting to have power steering and all these cool accessories, and then eventually, obviously, air conditioning is going to get done, and there's plenty of room to run to my AC stuff, and my heater hoses might change 10 times, but it's cool to know that I can. So this is cutting it close. We knew these would be close to keep like this inside completely empty. I wanted that look. You know, we could have traded spots here, but this should be fine. And if it's not, I got heat sleeving, and if that's not, I think everything else is pretty nice in here. I might do ANs, thread in some ANs, and then I think you can get the things that push lock onto those. Actually, I think I've seen them. Like it's a barb, and you put the barb on the hose, and then this is a quick disconnect. So then you can have a quick disconnect to the factory thing and an AN down here. That would be nice. You know, that's stuff to come. Anyway, that's all of my updating. I have put oil in it. I think I showed that. Yeah. So we're close. We're getting close. All we got to do is flow some fuel. One thing that I want to do for my fuel system is I've done it before and I've done iterations of it, but I want to get a regulator that's 10 in and out and return immediately into the surge tank. Like come out of the surge tank, hit the regulator, and return. And then the other 10 continues all the way out here and splits, and then dead ends here. So that's why I put plugs on both ends, because I think it'd be neat to regulate back there. I've done it on a few cars, but not with this much horsepower. But I have so much fuel pump, I think it'd be cool to just have one feed and nothing else in the, you know, since I have cool stuff back here, I'll do the regulator and the fuel and the bulkheads and, you know, relays, wiring, regulator, all that stuff on top of each other will be pretty cool stacked in there. And then returnless, it would put less stuff in my engine bay also. And then these, dude, these 8 PTFE looks so small. That's like half of the size of a regular AN line. It blows your mind when you see it. Like, this is 6. It looks like quarter. This is 6. This is 8. And that's 10. Like, it's so much smaller. It's at least half the size. You think there's something wrong when you see it. Yeah. So there I am. Semi-scattered, but I mowed through a lot yesterday. I'm like, just pin cushion your hands, dude, and get all these hoses done. So I did that. I think for fuel pressure, I'll drill. I will drill one of these guys out and put the fuel pressure guy right on the cap so I can take them both off. So I can see fuel pressure at the end, you know, the weakest link thing here. I got to swap my injectors to the Bosch ones. These are 210s, tried and true and used many, many times. I have Snake Eater GB 1400s, which I want to know if they would be perfect for this combo, and I have no tunes running them, and I have a year's worth of stuff on 210s, so that's how that cookie crumbles. So let me know what you guys think. I want to get all metal fittings. I guess I could put plastic on the blow-offs and stuff, but what's the point? I want to do this. I have dot hose. I have a trick that I want to do for the boost controllers then, is I have hose that's like red, white, blue, and black, and some other stuff. So I want to devise a scheme where, you know, black goes to the pressure spots and red is regulated on the boost controller. And I don't know if I'm going to do dual solenoids and just run wiring and have much less hosing, or if I want to, you know, a bunch of cars, I've set up a bunch of cars and tuned many cars like this where, so say you do like a whole bunch of wiring over here and you have much less over here, you can wire your solenoid and then tee it, you know, and just run the 2 signal wires over here, call it a day, and then you make the kind of a mess over here. And then I recently did a car where they just had the boost controller solenoid here, and then everything mapped across the rad support, which this is going to get a cover anyway, but I think I'd like to keep it cleaner. But yeah, you could get even funnier and like stack the blocks and make it look pretty, but why have all that weird pneumatic stuff laying on top of your radiator? I don't know. So yeah. Am I rambling enough here? If not, have a nice day. See you later.